The more you reveal your pain, the more people may want to hurt you. Although it doesn't always happen, it's common for some people to take pleasure in seeing you suffer, or even contribute to it or exacerbate it. This behavior of sadism and envy, unfortunately, is present in many and can indeed hinder your personal growth in various areas of life, whether at work, in friendship circles, or even within the family. Therefore, learning not to show your weakness can end up becoming your strength. Imagine yourself as a tree in the midst of a storm. The leaves may tremble, the branches may sway, but the trunk remains solid, deeply rooted in the earth. This is the portrait of silent resilience that we will teach. Here we will talk about how you can be even stronger by showing that you are not easily affected by external issues, where each challenge teaches you to be like the tree. By acting as if nothing bothers you, you are not denying the storm but choosing not to let the rain soak you and the wind knock you down. You will be learning to be the master of your own destiny, firm, strong, and serene in a sea of chaos. In this video, we will discuss the 18 Stoic principles of Epictetus, a great and renowned philosopher whom you have probably heard of. Additionally, I invite you to self-awareness, where strength does not come from the thunder's noise, but from the silence of the light that illuminates the path. So, in the next few minutes, focus on the content and not on the daily distractions. Let's begin. Principle number 1. Listen twice as much as you speak. Have you ever wondered why nature gave us 2 ears, but only 1 mouth? According to Epictetus, there is no mistake or coincidence in this, but rather a clear purpose behind this reality. Not to be enamored with our own voice as much as we are called to be enamored with the voices of others. It is by learning from others that we advance in life, not by repeating our own speech repeatedly. So, from today onwards, start paying more attention to what people around you say and less to what you have been advocating so far. Principle number 2. Always expect the worst. One of the biggest causes of anxiety and its devastating consequences is believing that unfavorable circumstances are waiting for us in the future. We fear that our children will drop out of school, that we will be fired from work, that our spouse will confess to having an affair with someone else and ask for a divorce, or that something worse will happen, such as bankruptcy. The problem is that one day we fear one of these problems, and the next day another and another. The path of life, besides reserving good and happy parts for us, also reserves a handful of inevitable problems. Therefore, we live in permanent stress, caused by different stimuli every day. And this is where Epictetus comes in, as his proposal is as drastic as it is effective. He says, think that all these things you fear so much have already happened. So, what could be worse? In this way, your spirit will develop strategies to move forward with your head held high. Principle number 3. Be prepared to fail, as it is the only way to progress. We do the impossible not to be considered fools. But Epictetus has a different view of this. According to his philosophy, one of the best things that can happen to you is to be considered such, as that is how you really improve professionally and personally as well. The Stoic philosopher reminds us that overcoming is not the product of a spontaneous reaction, but rather the result of a long path of trial and error. For it is through error that we can polish what keeps us from excellence. Principle number 4. Be aware of the dangers of fortune. This wealth we desire carries with it a stigma from which few people can free themselves. And it is not just about people who will emerge out of nowhere to benefit from our fortune, pretending to be friends they do not feel for us. Money has the ability to transform people, and not necessarily for the better. Once we possess this highly coveted resource, we start to have something that we didn't know we had before, and it is from that moment that our spirit can begin to poison itself in the face of the loss of moral values. Principle number 5. Do not cling to a single hope. Fortunately, we are beings inclined to the practice of diversity. There is no reason for us to place all our hopes in a single dream, as this could be devastating if we fail in it. Therefore, Epictetus encourages us to pursue many dreams, as this will exponentially increase our chances of success. Principle number 6. Always remember that death is waiting at the end of the road. This is not advice that calls us to pessimism, but to the awareness that death is the final destination of all our actions and especially of our efforts. Once we have this in mind, perhaps we will begin to evaluate to what extent it is worth spending 20 years of our limited life saving to pay for a house that, as much as it weighs on us, we cannot take with us wherever we go. When death visits us, just as we carry in our bag objects that we consider indispensable for life, such as the phone, credit cards, and our toothbrush, It would be very beneficial to carry a small notebook with these Stoic principles, because thanks to them, we will no longer see setbacks as misfortunes, nor life as internal time at our disposal, but we will acquire a more realistic view of our existence and surely make better use of our lifetime. Principle number 7. True wealth lies in a contented spirit. Due to Stoicism, Epictetus had his particular conception of happiness, and we can know it through one of his famous phrases: "A wise man is one who does not worry about the things he does not have, but rejoices in those he has." This reflection is more than a thought. It is advice to learn to stop feeling afflicted by those riches that are not yet part of our lives. Because while we allow ourselves to complain and lament for what is lacking, we lose valuable minutes of happiness in which we could thank for all that we have achieved so far, which is much more than our eyes are trained to appreciate. Thus, a rich person is, first and foremost, a happy person. Principle number 8. Incorporate humility into your life. If you truly want to learn something, it is essential that a person unlearns what they believe they already know. Through this phrase, Epictetus calls us to make use of our humility, especially in the field of learning. Going through life, flaunting the pride of knowledge distances us further and further from authentic knowledge that arises from the conviction that we are completely ignorant of what we intend to learn. In this way, we will look at everything through the eyes of a child who harbors both the capacity for enchantment and the desire to learn. Principle number 9. Blame is synonymous with plague. Narrow people blame others. Common people blame themselves, but the wise see all blame as foolishness. Thanks to this phrase from Epictetus, therapists nowadays have begun to address blame as a feeling to be eradicated from our lives. The only way to win the competition against blame is to refuse to play with it. The problem is that this results in an easy path, since by blaming others or ourselves, we completely absolve ourselves of the responsibility to correct the mistake. Therefore, resorting to it is a temptation difficult to escape. Only those driven by a firm determination to overcome are able to avoid blame and still manage to take responsibility for their actions. Principle number 10. Cultivate alliances with winners. It's interesting how when someone sneezes near us, we immediately step back, fearing contagion. However, we rarely exercise the same caution to avoid one of the most harmful contagions we face daily. Epictetus left us wise advice in this regard. Surround yourself with individuals who inspire you to give your best, as people's behavior greatly influences our emotional state. There are those who drain our energy and ruin our day, while others fill us with joy and vitality. Therefore, one of the wisest choices we can make is to associate ourselves with those who bring positivity into our lives, while distancing ourselves from those capable of making us regret our existence. Principle number 11. Never underestimate the impact of your reactions on your destiny. We must give due importance to our reactions, as they define our success or failure, as Epictetus emphasized. He taught us that we cannot control what happens to us, but we can control how we react. Adversity can strike anyone, but what we do from that moment on makes all the difference. For some, a divorce may mean plunging into depression and victimization. For Epictetus, it is an opportunity to embark on a journey of self-discovery. Remember, your life is not determined by what happens to you, but by what you do with those experiences. Principle number 12. Always honor your duties. Each of us plays a role in society and in the world. The sun does not wait for praise or invocations to rise every morning, but does so without fail. Just as each element of nature fulfills its function, we too must fulfill our responsibilities. If we expect praise or recognition to perform our tasks, we are failing the community and ourselves. Knowing our responsibilities and aware that others depend on them, it is our moral duty to execute them without needing to be reminded. Principle number 13. Do not feed the hatred of those who hate you. Simply ignore them. You are much greater and superior to those who criticize, belittle, and discriminate against you. Therefore, do not spend your valuable time nurturing resentment for these people, as they do not even deserve to occupy your thoughts. We are encouraged not to fear those who harm us, for their shouts are a lamentable attempt to affect us. Therefore, ignore them and become immune to them. Principle number 14. Embrace simplicity over complexity. Why live in luxury when we can have a quiet and comfortable life these days? The answer is simpler and more logical than imagined, because wealth does not sustain itself but requires commitment and a lot of daily energy to sustain that luxurious lifestyle. In contrast, by adopting a simple lifestyle, we free ourselves from the pressure of meeting deadlines for bills, loans, and credit cards. Principle number 15. By allowing others' comments and attitudes to disturb you, you surrender control of your life. Anyone capable of arousing your anger becomes your master. However, they can only do so if you allow yourself to be affected by them. Epictetus reminds us that within us are many keys. Some open doors to happiness, while others lead us to emotional ruin. It is precisely this latter key that we give to those who irritate us. The solution lies in establishing a barrier that protects us from others' attitudes, as each is responsible for what they say and for what they choose to hear. Principle number 16. Friendship surpasses wealth. True friends represent true wealth, as they will stand by our side to support us even if our material fortune disappears. Therefore, dedicate yourself to cultivating authentic friendships, as this constitutes an extremely valuable long-term investment. Principle number 17. Always extract benefit from circumstances. Regardless of what happens, it is up to you to decide whether to take advantage of it or not. This is the essence of Epictetus's words. It is not just about having the option to find the positive side of adversity, but recognizing that it is our duty to do so. As long as there is discernment, there is the ability to identify the advantages that can be gained from the situations we face. Imagine going to work one day and finding out that you will be fired. Instead of despairing and blaming the universe, you have the option to explore new opportunities while working alongside people you previously did not appreciate. Therefore, always strive to find the positive aspect in every situation, as this lifelong habit will surely take you further than just lamenting. Principle number 18. Stop worrying about what is beyond your control. You control your opinions, but not your reputation. You aspire and strive, but you cannot control your social position or success. Worrying and bitter about things beyond our control is simply wasting energy. According to Epictetus, we are called to develop the aspects we can change, but it is also our duty to let go of what is beyond our control and allow destiny to take its course. Stoic principles, besides being incredibly useful in everyday life, are teachings that help us face difficult moments with resilience and practical wisdom. Their philosophy does not include room for fantasies. Instead, it emphasizes the practical application of what is learned. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you've made it this far, please share your reflections with us in the comments. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. See you soon.